Good afternoon. I've already shot the video for this, but I need to do the introduction. I'm going to compare cutting Conduit with the Bauer saw and the Drillmaster saw. These are two different types of saws. This is portable and is a band saw, very versatile. You can take it different places. You can cut things that you couldn't on that. So there is a big use for this. This, on the other hand, is a benchtop tool, and the depth of cut is kind of limited by the blade, and the clearance is in here. This is a 6-inch model, so I'm thinking 3 inches is probably optimistic for the depth of cut. But it has a clamp that you can put stuff in. 90 degrees would be the default, but you can go all the way to 45, and it has a screw clamp, and it has a quick disconnect nut. So these are actually really designed for two different things. But in terms of cutting Conduit, both will do it, and both will do it fine. It's what they're designed for, to cut metal. But which is better? Which has a better finish? Which has less work to clean up the burrs that it creates? And which does a better 90-degree cut? The 90-degree cut is somewhat important to me. So we'll cut some Conduit with this one. We'll cut some Conduit with this one, and we'll compare. Tighten it down, cut. Okay, so after it was over, this is the chop saw, this one. I've got a lot of burrs around it, and I've got some burrs in it. So I've got to use a grinder or something to kind of deburr that and clean it up. It looks like it's not a 90-degree cut, but it is. It's just that the burr and the slag that it's slung around makes it look not 90 degrees. Okay, so here's the bandsaw. There's some burrs here. It's not 90 degrees. It's close. I had a lot of variation in the cuts. It's extremely hard to hold a portable bandsaw and get a true 90-degree cut. It's kind of hard to get a 1/2-inch blade sitting there at 90 degrees and start cutting. That's a lot of weight of that saw. So if you're off just a tiny degree at the very beginning, you're not going to be at 90 degrees at the end. So there's a lot of room for variations. So there's the cuts. Okay, so which would I want? This is the chop saw. This is the bandsaw. In terms of cleanup, this is probably a little easier than this. There's also a lot of variations in the amount of burrs that it produces. If I had to choose for this application, cutting Conduit for my CNC machine, I would pick the chop saw because even though there's a little bit more cleanup, I have a more consistent 90-degree cut. This cut is almost 90 degrees, and this one probably is, but I had a lot of variation on 90 degrees as I cut these. This one, there should be very little variation because of the clamp. So anyway, thought I'd compare the two. These saws are really intended for two different purposes. This saw, I think, should be considered a rough cut saw. And the chop saw is meant to cut metal at 90 degrees and a set angle over and over again. So I think the chop saw was a better tool for this job. I'm not saying the Bauer isn't a good saw. I think it's a great saw. But I think I'm going to get better cuts overall with the chop saw. And that's because of the clamp. If I could take this and mount it like I would a wooden bandsaw, the saw itself was fixed, and there was a table that was fixed that was 90 degrees to it, that I'd get really consistent cuts and I'd be a lot happier with it. But I'm not sure I'm ever going to get a good cut. There's too much variation in that starting angle. Okay, so I thought I'd show you the comparison. If you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.